And now, everyone, it is time that we are going to go and cap this episode off with the grand finale. And with this grand finale, I'm going to be talking about the other Disney live action remake that is coming soon. In fact, this is what I stated before, the other reason why Disney is ready to go and take the L on Snow White. In fact, from what I can imagine, Disney is looking upon 2019 as to what they can go and do in order to go and move forward. Now, you may recall back in 2019, Disney suffered a catastrophic flop with their Dumbo remake, but they were quickly able to get themselves back on their feet with the Aladdin remake, which went on to become a huge hit and made over $1 billion at the box office. And this is even before the Lion King remake even stepped in and made even more. So in this case, the worst case scenario for Disney in 2025 is that, well, there is a possibility that the Snow White remake will turn out to be a flop and Disney will end up losing millions. But then, a few months later, there's going to be the other live action remake that's going to be coming out, and there are a lot of signs that it's going to end up becoming a far greater hit. One that will be far more profitable, that it will end up making up for the losses of Snow White and then some, especially when so far it's been gathering a lot of positive reactions. Yes, indeed, unironic positive reactions towards a live action remake. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming live action remake, the one that is not Snow White, Lilo and Stitch.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment.
One.
And that is the Lilo and Stitch remake, to which it will be coming out in theaters on May 23rd. Now, with all that said, from what we have just seen, I'm just going to go and say that I understand if people are not on board with this. Like, I know that with all the live action remakes that we have received, that, you know, there's a lot of people who are turned off to basically any live action remake in general. And this thing doesn't look anything that's too different from what we have gotten so far from Disney. So in that regard, yeah, like, it does have a bit of that same vibe, not to mention with the fact that they are turning an animated feature into a live action remake. It does take away so much of the artistry. And with something like Lilo and Stitch, there is a significant amount, like a lot of unique artistry that is in that film that not many Disney animated features at the time actually had. Like, now it's pretty much gone, especially with the overall aesthetic done by Chris Sanders, or especially those beautiful watercolor backgrounds. They're pretty much out of this movie whatsoever and just replaced with live action. So in that aspect, from an artistic perspective, yeah, I do understand where this does look like an inferior product, that it's not going to live up to the hype of the original, and that once again we just end up having another soulless live action remake. But with that said, though, I'm not gonna lie, even I could see some potential in this. At least in terms of how they crafted this trailer, this is honestly very smart with the way that they really put their focus onto Stitch. I mean, Stitch was already first revealed during last year's D23, and that was that ended up receiving a lot of positive reactions. But now in here, we do see a lot more of how Stitch is going to be in the movie itself. And I'm not going to lie, from what we have seen with Stitch, it's actually not that bad. Like, honestly, from like all the scenes that we have seen with Stitch, like a lot of it is what people want to go and watch from Stitch. It's just being naughty and being very mischievous wherever he would go. And yeah, like, I mean, that's kind of the main thing, like what Stitch is all about and why he's been so popular ever since the release of the first movie. But in this case here, with the way that they are presenting Stitch, and one thing I am very surprised about is the animation, because generally with these live action remakes, some of the worst things about it is just the CG just looks like absolute garbage. They look like pure nightmares. Like, rather it be with the Beauty and the Beast remake with all the living objects, or the Little Mermaid with Ariel's aquatic friends, or her animal friends, like with Flounder, Sebastian, and Scuttle, or even with what we're gonna have with the Snow White remake with the freaking monsters that they call the Seven Dwarves. Like, yeah, the CG is often considered to be the worst part of these live action remakes. But in here, however, with the way that they present Stitch, it's actually pretty good. And not only that, like the design itself, like, yeah, it actually does look like Stitch, but now with extra added textures. But Stitch himself doesn't actually look soulless. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. Like, they actually made him look lively. They actually made him look like a legitimate animated character with a lot of great facial expressions. And in fact, there are even some moments that, I'm not gonna lie, that it actually did make me laugh. Like, there are some moments that I actually did enjoy. Like, my favorite moment is when you see him when he was at the table, like when Dave stepped in and asked if Stitch is actually a dog, like this part.
Table, you sure that's a dog?
Yeah.
Rough.
Like, that, I'll admit, that actually got me to laugh there. That was actually pretty good. Both with the moment where you see Stitch, like, taking off his collar, and then Stitch just responding to Dave, just like, rough. You know, like, that little moment, I gotta say, that was actually pretty good. And it's not just Stitch that I find to actually look well animated, but even at the beginning, the CG in general with the aliens, they actually look pretty impressive. That they took the Chris Sanders style and translate that onto CG, or at least just the alien designs. And I find it actually does work well, that it actually translates quite nicely onto CG, and it works in its own right. So honestly, that's kind of the one thing that I will say that I am shocked and pretty impressed with, is that the CG so far actually does look lovely. Well, that is until the end of it, where we did get a peek of the other prominent aliens, or one of the other prominent aliens, and that is right at the end, where we actually get a look at Pleakley right over here.
No, wait!
Oh my goodness, what the fridge is that? I mean, yeah, it does, like, okay, design-wise, it looks like Pleakley, but still, though, this right here, it's terrifying. Now with the extra details that they're adding, especially, like, having that giant realistic eye, this right here is like, there's the Disney live action remake that I know. There's the monstrosities of CG that I am familiar with right over here with Pleakley. And keep in mind, like, we have yet to see what Jumba looks like. And honestly, if Pleakley ends up looking like this, then I'm worried with what they're gonna do with Jumba. And I mean, yeah, sure, like, we don't see the like the Chancellor woman either. Like, at the most, we only got like the back of her head, which is like where is it? Like, yeah, like right over here. I mean, like, in the back, like, okay, this does look like the Chancellor woman. She does look pretty familiar. And some people are even mentioning that we have yet to even see Gantu either. So yeah, that is a good point. But it's just so far with like what we've gotten with Pleakley here. Yeah, that's just not great. Honestly, this is terrifying. And also, some of you have also pointed out here, but it's also the another thing that they have done, which is significantly update what they are going to do with Jumba and Pleakley's disguises, that now they will fully be disguising themselves as human when they're going to be on Earth, which honestly is kind of both a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, yeah, it does suck that they're not going to be as playful when we see them on Earth, like, because part of the fun with Jumba and Pleakley is when they're going to try to blend in with the crowd, and somehow they're able to go and get away with it. And especially with Pleakley is considered to be one of Disney's definitive drag queens, which I'm just going to go and say right now, considering with how Disney's stance on the LGBTQ plus community is, especially with trans people, I sadly highly doubt that they're going to go and have Pleakley be in drag or give him a wig or dress up like Jumba's wife per se. I doubt that they're going to go and do that. I mean, maybe there is that possibility, but knowing how Disney is, they, considering that now they just really want to play it safe, I doubt they're going to do so with this version of Pleakley. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a downer. But then again, though, even though, yeah, that does feel like a bit of a downgrade with the disguises, then again, I will say it is a bit of a blessing, because at least that means less time where we are going to see this. So you know what? Honestly, it's like, all right, I kind of get it. And especially with the fact that it's obviously a sign that Disney just wants to go and do it in order to go and save up on money, that they don't have to do as much CG as they would need if they want to truly be exactly like the remake. But still, though, it's like, okay, it's like, take it or leave it. Like, yeah, there are some parts about it that suck, but then again, there's also parts about it where it's like, nah, you know what? That's probably a good thing. And this is not even to mention about the human actors as well who are in this, especially those who are playing Lilo and Stitch. And already, one who has already stolen the show so far is the little girl who is playing Lilo. And I'm not gonna lie, her performance is actually not bad. Like, she does capture a bit of that mischievous cuteness that the original Lilo has. So honestly, I think in that regard, the girl who's going to be playing Lilo, I think she's actually going to do very well, and I think she's going to be a significant highlight. Like, people are going to love this Lilo as much as people are going to love this Stitch. The only ones that I will say is going to be more of a wait and see now is just going to be the actress who's playing Nani and who's going to be playing Dave, because Nani is also a very significant character here, and especially a lot of people who are saying is like a very underrated character because of the amount of responsibilities that she has to go and take care of, like not only like having a job to maintain the house, but also taking care of Lilo, kind of like being the surrogate mother per se. But honestly, that's going to be a factor that I think we'll have to wait until we see like another trailer that does highlight her and when the movie does come out. So I'm going to say that overall, based on what we have seen in this trailer, even as someone who is against these live action remakes, I'm not going to lie, and I honestly see great potential in this, and I got a feeling this could actually end up turning out to be one of the better Disney live action remakes. Now, I don't know if this is going to be something that could turn out to be either as good or better than the original. I highly doubt that. But for what it is, so far, it actually looks, pretty solid. And I'd even say there are some parts that actually look enjoyable. Most of the CG actually pretty impressive. And I'll even say that it even looks better than the How to Train Your Dragon remake. Some of the characters, like with Lilo and especially Stitch, is charming. And even with Stitch himself, they did great with both the animation, like to make him look lively and be comical, and even capturing the heart as well. So again, this is honestly why I feel like Disney might not be necessarily worried about how things are going to go with the Snow White remake, because right now, from what I've been seeing so far, people have been really enjoying this Lilo and Stitch trailer. And I got a good feeling that it's going to be very well received when it's going to be coming out in theaters, or at least it's going to be way better received than the Snow White remake. So yeah, if you are interested in checking out the Lilo and Stitch remake, then keep in mind that it's going to be coming out on May 23rd. And with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the Lilo and Stitch remake? Are you guys excited for this? Do you think there's actually some great potential to it? Do you guys feel like this is no different than any of the other live action remakes and it's just going to be crap? Or are you hesitant and you want to wait and see? Let me know what you all think. And also, I'm actually going to go and right in the chat wall, I'm going to go and ask you right here. We might as well go and determine this. But I would like to go and ask, do you think the Lilo and Stitch remake will be good? So we'll go and put in yes, and we'll put in no. So let's see what people have to say about it. All right. I don't know if this will be great, but at least it looks so much better than Snow White, especially with how Stitch looks. Also, it looks like Lilo's casting was absolutely spot on, and the disguise makes sense since they're aliens, so they would have more high-tech devices. Finally, no one would ever dare to claim that this film is woke garbage, since the original revolves around native Hawaiians to begin with, and Stitch shot first. Actually, I would go and argue that you never know with these people, considering that there's not many white people that are involved. In fact, like the main people who are in this, they're not white. They'll find a way to go and label this as like woke propaganda or whatever. I mean, you know how paranoid these people are to the point that their conservatism looks more like a mental illness. So there is that possibility. Anyways, let's see. All right. I'm shocked to report I genuinely could check this out. I hate all the live action remakes Disney has made, but man, I gotta say, this feels like the crew behind it did something that I am shocked to see. Being true to the original and having new stuff involved, overall, I'm actually gonna think about seeing this. By the way, off topic, I met Maggie Robertson last weekend at Comic-Con. Yes, the person who voiced your waifu, AniMat's one cool anime. Oh, and that's supposed to be an emoji. Oh, do you mean the voice of, if I remember, the voice of Lady Dimitrescu? Oh, lucky you. Honestly, I wish I had that chance. Honestly, I think she went into, like last year's Comic-Con, but I decided not to go. Oh man, I would, I want to meet Maggie Robertson. Anyways, lucky you. Let's see here. The original Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite animated Disney films, and I'm pleasantly surprised that this doesn't look bad. Visually, it's really impressive, especially with Hawaii. Stitch looks very impressive, and Lilo's actress must be protected at all costs. The only CGI that looks off is Pleakley. Overall, we'll see, and I think this is going to be a hit no matter what. Given Stitch's popularity, he literally has a license to print money. Oh, exactly. And I think that's like one of the major reasons why they're doing this live action remake in the first place. Considering that Stitch is still like one of Disney's most profitable franchises, it's pretty much a guarantee no matter how the movie would be, this was going to be a hit. But the factor that this could legit turn out to be good is such a significant bonus. And I think, honestly, I'm just going to go and say this right now. Honestly, like, as shocking as it is, there is that part that maybe we shouldn't be so shocked, considering that this is from the director of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And this guy, like, if you have seen Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, this dude knows how to put in some charm into a movie. So in that regards, that element of Marcel being put onto Lilo and Stitch, I think that is a very positive sign. Let's see. Oh, and by the way, holy crap. I don't know what got into you, Chad, but apparently it is unanimous. All of you who have voted have said that yes, this Lilo and Stitch remake could legit be good. No one has voted no. So yeah, there really is that strong. So yeah, apparently there's a lot of enthusiasm for this. Right. Let's see now. Oh, hold on a sec. I'm sorry, but while I think this remake looks fine, it's still the same bloody movie. I think the one thing that actually stands out with this is that Lilo's actress is actually really good. I was nervous because of her young age, 6 or 7 when filming. She's not just really doing a good job, but she is a cute little bean. However, Pleakley's alien form is cursed in live action. Also, he would totally want a woman disguise, not look like a human man, erasing Pleakley's gender fluidity. Fair enough. Anyways, oh wow, here's someone who's literally called Stitch, Super Stitch 1999. I'm gonna be honest, I've been very cautious about this remake ever since Disney first announced it back in late 2018, but now after this trailer, I have to say it was surprisingly decent. At least it's not going to be a complete shot for shot remake, and it's going to be its own interpretation of the original story. And Stitch himself is very cute. As a longtime fan of the franchise, I hope this remake is decent at least. If there's ever a sequel, I hope the other experiments show up. Whoa, boy. Well, one step at a time. Let's go and have this remake first, and then we'll see if Disney is in the mood to go and make a sequel. Anyways, wait a minute, Matt. A Disney remake that could be good? Okay, then, I honestly do think this Lilo and Stitch remake actually looks fun to watch. The little girl who is portraying Lilo is simply adorable and needs to be protected at all costs. That Stitch CG looks great. The actress who's doing Nani is pretty cute. No joke, I actually want to check this out because of those factors. My only downside is Pleakley just looks off. If you can't beat him, then join him. Wow, there's a lot of enthusiasm here. Okay, let's see. Okay, this remake. There's some potential for this. I just wish that Ving Rhames reprised his role as Bubbles, but there is hope. It brings authenticity to the culture of Hawaii from the setting to the music. I get why people won't like this, but there's a possibility that it could work. The CGI of Stitch is a little cringe, but he does look good and adorable. Also, we need to protect Lilo at all costs. Oh my god, there's a lot of love for that Lilo actress. Like, there needs to be a lot of protection. And I mean, I get it, considering how like the anti-woke people, and you never know with people like the Quartering and Critical Drinker, they're going to go and prepare their harassment campaigns towards that Lilo actress. But you know, like, it's always best to go and like protect them at all costs. All right, I think I only have time for one more remake here. All right. Miga nada crista. At long last, after many teasers, we finally got our trailer, and after watching this, I'm cautiously optimistic. The OG animated film is one of the top favorite Walt Disney Animation Studios films, so I'm hoping it could deliver despite the track record of these remakes. Stitch is cute, and for the most part, it doesn't seem like a shot-for-shot and adds in some new scenes that I'm sure will hit like bricks then, thanks to Dean. My only major complaint, though, is that they de-yassify my boy Pleakley. Curse you, Disney! Yes, oh boy, well, wow, this is very much a rare sight, but wow, it looks like people are legit excited for a Disney live-action remake. So if you are hyped up to see the Lilo and Stitch remake, then keep in mind that the movie is going to be coming out on May 23rd in theaters.